she set up Voorhees College on the second floor of a store. This light that was in these individuals who set up the schools that we serve today. There are only two institutions that the KKK couldn't stand. One was the black church and the other were HBCUs. Because if you got an educated, trained person, you can turn the world upside down. I don't know if I have a weakness in here. We got some educated, trained people that know we can turn the world upside down. When the people of God develop their mind and develop their heart. And there's something unique about an HBCU. Because HBCU is unlike any other institution on the planet. I'm sorry for those who went to PWIs. I'm not throwing any shade. But can I break something down so you understand about HBCUs? It's unique. You can see an HBCU graduation. It starts out with pomp and circumstance, but will become a Pentecostal revival meeting by the end. Because every year at an HBCU, it'll happen in 2025. Somebody will stand, the Dean of Academic Affairs will say, please hold your applause. So the entire class of 2025 has received their degrees. And we will clap for the entire class of 2025. But they forget Big Mama shows up every year. She's been praying for her child all these years, and when her baby walks across the stage, there's going to be a shout. Spiritual resilience, the moral imagination. What we must understand is allow our light to shine in these moments. But recognize and understand, not confuse our light with artificial light. Why do I say artificial light? Because there's a difference from the light you get from the sun and the light you get from a light bulb. Artificial light does not react a particular way in terms of the epidermis, in terms of being able to release some vitamin D in your spirit. But when you are connected with the right kind of light, it will do something in your spirit. And I'm here to let you know that materialism and cynicism is the wrong kind of light. There is a light that our ancestors had, that liberation does not come simply from someone's wealth. That you've got to have more than material. You've got to be rooted spiritually and morally to transform our very communities. I wonder, because those of you who are presidents of HBCUs, I know we are underfunded. I know we need more resources. But I got to tell you, you all are some miracle workers. Ain't never seen anything like it. That literally you can do more with less. And those who have major endowments, look who you produce and what you produce. Many of you, we have that Harriet Tubman spirit. Harriet Tubman didn't say, I need an endowment in order to release 300 people. She said, first, I've got to have the right vision in my spirit, because there is a light that flows within me. And this is the challenge for us in this moment, to allow students to understand there is a light in them. That you come from a community of resilience and moral imagination. Because this season in our democracy is literally on the ballot. So we are called in many ways to ensure that we let our light shine. So as I close, I've got to tell you one moment about allowing our light to shine. Because when our light shines, it's not a spotlight on ourselves, but it's a light to bless other people. It's nice that you graduate. It's nice that you have particular positions. But the reality is that whatever we have been given, we are called to pass it on to someone else. Let me see if I can explain. This way, the light that we have is not a spotlight, but the light we have, understand this, is not a competitive light, but it is a cooperative light. When we recognize we're not in competition with each other, that in many ways, ways, we are like fireflies. It's nice for one lightning blood bug to light up. But if you get 1,000 of them together, you can literally light up the night if they come together and begin to work. And I'm reminded from our history, some graduates from HBCUs who transformed the social landscape of America in a place known as Montgomery, Alabama. People will remember that in Montgomery there was that great bus boycott. We lift up the name of Rosa Parks, but before you get to Rosa Parks, you need to know there was another sister who sat down before Rosa Parks. Sister by the name of Claudette Colvin. The only reason that she was not the face of the movement was because she was not married and had children. But before there was a Rosa Parks, there was a Claudette Colvin. But please do not frame Rosa Parks as some meek and mild sister. Rosa Parks had been an organizer in the NAACP since she was a teenager. And she said, I'm going to work the rest of my life until I bring down segregation. So she sat on the bus and refused to move to the back and was arrested. When she was arrested, the word went out in Montgomery. And the organizers in Montgomery gathered together. I believe it was at the Hope Street Baptist Church. There was a gentleman by the name of E.D. Nixon. E.D. Nixon was a part of the NAACP. There was another brother by the name of Fred Gray, who was a graduate of Alabama State University and was also a lawyer in the community that wanted to bring down segregation. There was another graduate by the name of Joanne Robinson from Clark Atlanta University, who specifically worked at Alabama State University. And there they were in the basement of Hope Street. And there was a young minister who'd only been there a few months. Folk just said, come on by. We're not going to put you on a committee, but we just want you to show up, by the name of Martin Luther King Jr. And as they were in that basement, I have to say it this way, the brothers were at the front of, near the front of this basement. And one section, the sisters were over on the side. The brothers were arguing. The sisters were over there planning on the other side. The brothers were arguing. The sisters were planning over on the other side. The brothers were arguing, saying, we need a bus boycott for one day. And then another brother said, no, we need to allow the NAACP Legal Defense Fund to run this up the legal chain. The brothers were arguing. But there was Joanne Robinson and about 8 other sisters. And they said, you know what? The brothers are going to argue all night. Let's leave and start a movement and they'll catch up with us a little bit later. And so the sisters went over to Alabama State University, where they had a mimeograph machine. Some of y'all know what a mimeograph machine is. In order to make copies, you had to crank them out. And they had a flyer that they made to say that there is a boycott and no black person is to ride a bus in Montgomery. And they were going to print up 55,000 flyers within 8 hours. And they had organized paper boys in Montgomery to deliver all of these flyers. And after they finished their first 10,000, they gathered the paper boys and gave the flyers to them and said, now deliver them to as many houses as you can and come back. But that's when the Spirit of God intervened. Because then as the boys came out from Alabama State, a breeze out of nowhere came and blew all the flyers everywhere. One flyer landed on the car of the sheriff in Montgomery. And when he saw the flyer, he said, look at what these Negroes in Alabama are trying to, I don't think he used the word Negro, look what these Negroes in Alabama are trying to do. He was worried that black people were going to forget what they need to do and get out of their place. So he decided to take the flyer to one of the most powerful people in Alabama, specifically Montgomery, the person who was the owner and the editor of the Montgomery paper. He said, look what the Negroes, don't think he used that word, they're trying to do in Alabama. And the owner and the editor said, oh my goodness, we got to let all of the white people in Montgomery know what they're doing. So what I propose is that we have a full-page ad and print this flyer right here and allow all of the white people to know. But what he didn't realize is that not only was he letting all the white people know, but he let all the black people know at the same time. So when Dr. King got up that morning and opened up his paper, he realized that there was going to be a boycott. But that's not the cooperative aspect that I want you to know. There's a woman that many of us do not lift up and don't even know about by the name of Georgia Gilmore. Georgia Tilford Gilmore. Georgia Tilford Gilmore was a cook in Montgomery. She wanted to be a part of the movement. She didn't graduate from Alabama State. She didn't go to a HBCU. She didn't graduate from anywhere, but she knew how to make some pound cake. She could make some peach cobbler. She could hook up some cornbread. She makes sweet tea to turn you into a diabetic. I'm telling you, she could hook some stuff up. And so she gathered other women who were cooks in Montgomery. And they called themselves the Club from Nowhere. And they said to the organizers, said, you all do the legal stuff. You do the theological stuff. We're going to raise money for you. So how are you going to raise money that you don't have enough money? So, we know how to raise money. We're sisters. We know how to do this thing. So what they did is they started selling pound cake and peach cobbler. But wait a minute. What made me shout is how they sold it. Because they had relationships with many people who are actually considered to be a part of the White Citizens Council, the wealthy white landowners in Alabama. They would go over and say, don't you like that pound cake I make? I can make about 50 for your family. I'll put you down continually and we'll have an Uber that'll bring by the pound cake every week. And they said, Georgia, the pound cake is so good. The peach cobbler is so good. Not only will I order it, I want to order it for everybody in the neighborhood. And they said, thank you very much. But what they didn't realize, that they were funding the legal advancement to bring down segregation in Alabama. When we decide to cooperate together, something amazing can happen. So I'm here to tell you it's time for us to be cooperative lights. Whatever you are part of, what other organization it may be. If you're the Divine Nine, we've got to work together come November. Whether or not you're HBCU or PWI, we've got to work together. Whether you are a union trade organization, whether a domestic worker or day laborer, we've got to work together collectively. It does not matter what position you come from. Does not matter what background you come from. Whether you are Baptist or Buddhist, whether you're Muslim or Methodist, whether you are Anglican or agnostic, whether you are Pentecostal or Presbyterian, whether you're Hindu or holiness, Jew or Gentile, queer or Quaker, Latino or Lutheran, rural or urban, Asian